And then the third method I want to show you is the one that you will come across in sewing a lot, where the bias binding is sewn to and then it sits on the inside of the garment, and that way you don't see it from the outside. I've also got a little chiffon top here that I've made, and there is an actual video on this on YouTube for you to watch, or at the Academy, where I show you how this works. And classically you get these two lines here that will show up, and then at the top edge I've used the other method where I simply rolled it not to the inside but rolled it to the outside. You can also do that to give it the look of the bias binding here, but actually on the inside it's the back or front, and it's a very nice way to work as well. So you can practice, it makes perfect, and do your own. Oh, what a cute little top this was that I made here for YouTube. Anyway, that's a long time ago, so I'm going to put this to the side now. When I sew this on and I turn it, I'd end up with something that is way too thick. You really don't need much for this. The maximum width you want this to be is here from the crease down, right? And then when you're sewing it on with foot width, it's gonna be too wide, I guarantee you. So what you're going to aim for is to cut this down a little bit evenly so that you get this really slender bias binding around your neckline. If it's really thick, it won't look very nice. So we're going for something more slender than this. I did that here as well, and it's just like, you know, it's too wide really. It's okay for sample, but so we're going to sew this now to the top side of the fabric, so the upper side, and I'm going to use the same again. I'm going to use foot width seam allowance, pop it under, and ease it in. Don't pull on it this time, because what we're going to do is we're going to turn it to the inside. So if you pull this, it's going to be tight. For this technique, you have to like keep your bias binding steady. Don't pull it, right? Just loosely put it on. Also, another thing to think about is that the edge of your presser foot here and the edge of your fabric are more important than the presser foot width distance from the side. Done. Alrighty, so quick look at this. We're cutting it back so that we've got enough to do our understitching. Why we do the understitching, you've already learned. We're doing it so we get a really superb edge. So I'm going to understitch this now. Let's put this on here. And what I do is I'm kind of looking at the needle this time. I'm letting this edge here glide just a little bit over while I'm doing this. And my eye kind of flicks between that, making sure that I do it right. There we go. The next step now is to simply turn this under like this and stitch it back down, right? We're going to stitch from the underside of the fabric here, and we're going all the way around. Okay, so pop this under. And I've had a lot of questions. People say you get the puckering. I've got a little bit of puckering here, but I've had quite bad puckering on this one here. And people have asked me how to avoid the puckering, and simply what it is not stretching your bias binding in the area where it goes round the curve, right? That's really important, because as it turns in, it needs a little bit more room, and you get the puckers because you don't give it that room. So now I'm just folding this over, making sure everything is nice and straight, and I'm sewing close to the edge. And again, it's almost more important that you keep the same distance now to the edge than is that you're sewing straight on the edge. You might be a little bit more in. It doesn't matter. You want the distance from the outside here to be the same all the way around, right? It's not so vital that it's the same all the way on the inside as well. It's brilliant if it is, but if it isn't, don't beat yourself up. It happens. Nobody sees the inside, right? So let's move this round. There we go. Nice and flat. Move it round. And you can see here my line I'm lining up with, right? That's what I'm going for. Gently ease it in so it feeds it in straight again. Yeah, and depending on how slim my bias is or how wide it is, how well I've worked, it will sit right on the same point on the edge, or it might sit a little bit further over or a little bit further in. So let's have a look. See here, it sits a little bit further in, but that's not important. Important is that the distance here to the edge remains the same. And that's it. Look at this. That's really nice. And there is no puckering here, and it's perfectly smooth. So what have we learned? When you're using this method, don't pull your bias binding. You only pull it with the other methods. There we go. Give this a good press, and we have got a perfect curve here. And if you are making one of my patterns, for example, I've blended in here the Manhattan top. That is the new one that's just coming out. When we bind that, the binding of course has the perfect length anyway, so you don't need to worry that you pulled it too much. So that was all I have to say about bias binding.